call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. Kenny?
Master King.
Here.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Here. If would please the court, I'd like to ask you all's permission to amend the agenda, and we'll do it right before the judge's report for a real short executive session, and it will be dealing with possible litigation.
So move. Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes. Yes. Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Okay, we'll go on with the meeting. We all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. If there are no changes, no discussion, a motion would be in order to approve those.
So move. Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Treasurer's report, Glenna?
I dropped into your Dropbox the quarterly report that ends December 31st, 2013. And as of December 31st, 2013, our total fund balance was $7,854,772.76. Right now, through 6 months through our fiscal year, our general fund receipts, our total receipts are at 74%. Our expenditures are at 34.8%. Our road fund, our total receipts are at 61.6%, and our expenditures are at 58.3%. Our jail fund, our receipts are at 54.4%, and our expenditures are at 50.9%. Our CSEP fund, our receipts are at 16.8%, and our expenditures are at 14.8%. Our 911 fund, the total receipts are at 49.9%, and our expenditures are at 45%. Does anybody have any questions about the balances or funds at this time?
How many tons of road salt you use, Leroy, you know?
Wait, that's my judge's report.
Oh, excuse me. Forget it.
Could would it be possible maybe to get that turned up right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. There's a little button at the bottom you can.
Well, I usually have to
click
call Chris, and he'll say, okay, just a minute, and then it'll be up there, because every time I'd turn it, it would turn. So I stand on my head.
I'll try to make sure it's turned right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Glenna. Okay, we're going to order of business, and is Pat here?
Nope, haven't seen her.
Okay, well, Pat Banks was coming to give us an update on the Kentucky River Authority update. So maybe she's coming late, and if she comes in a little late, we'll move it around. Next on the agenda is second reading of Ordinance 1401, Kentucky Adopt Building Code Amendment. And as we talked about this in Berea, all it is updating our ordinance to meet all state requirements. There are no changes as far as fees or anything like that. And I would open it up to see if anybody had any questions about that. If not, I think we're all very familiar with it. Motion will be in order to approve second reading of Ordinance 1401, and that's to update our Kentucky Building Code amendments.
So moved.
Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda is award bids on the heat and air at the detention center. And I apologize, it's been a little bit, we just got really busy. And you all have copies of those bids in on your pad. There was so much difference in them that I wanted to wait and get some some references on the low bidder, but I've done that. I've called several people that he's done work for, and also people that have worked for him, and he's the real deal. So he bid $77,200, and that's changing out the 30-ton heat and air unit over at the jail. And I think he's ready to go get started on it, Doug. He talked to you maybe already. So at this time, I'd like the court's permission to award the bid of $77,200 for the new heat and air rooftop unit to Tico Mechanical Contractor in Lexington.
So moved. Judge, since you mentioned you need to check that out, I'm very familiar. They've done work here in Madison County. They're good, reputable company. Big company.
I was worried about the difference in the bid.
Yeah, I know that, but they're a good company. I feel confident in them.
I'll second it. How you making it right now, Doug? You got any heat? What are you doing for heat right
Prisoners.
Get a lot of them together, they'll put off all.
Put them all in one place and it heats the whole building.
I think about 4 pure heaters, that kind of style heater, down in the work release area where the inmates are at in the front office, so
And that's the way you're doing it.
it's just, we can, yeah,
I mean, this is a brutal winter to have the heat go out. I mean,
it's working.
But it won't take them long to get to work. Judge's report, just a
Hang on.
few.
vote on that. We need to vote.
Make sure that everybody's done. Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Judge's report, just a few things. Leroy and I have been talking. We've used approximately between 2,500 and 2,700 tons of salt. That's a lot more than we've used the last year or two. But the good news is that Leroy has got both bins back to capacity, and they hold about 1,700 or 1,800 tons apiece. So we are in excellent shape for anything that we face the rest of this month, the month of February or the month of March. And I have to say that Leroy and his crew, every one of them have done an outstanding job. Everywhere I go, people comment and just brag on the road department, how well they've done with the roads and all this. So wanted to say that. And other than that, the state of the city with Mayor Conley will be Thursday at 11:45 at the Russell Action Folk Center this Thursday, and everybody's invited to that. And I had one other thing that we put on your pad. We've got a request from the Veterans Memorial Park of Kentucky for a donation. They're building a Veterans Park there. The reason I wanted to ask is because we have helped with one other of these, and then we're probably within 2 months of getting a deed to the 10 acres out in front of the fairgrounds for our veterans. It'll be deeded to the county. I met with the Colonel last week, and they're trying to fast track it. We had to go through 5 or 6 studies. But that's coming up quick, and I thought maybe we wanted to wait, and any money we spend it on our own veterans and helping them get their facility. They're going to build a 3,000 square foot building out there that will service all the veterans of all the services in Madison County. So we're looking forward to get started on that in the spring. But I did want to ask you all and get your opinion on it, whether we wanted to send 500 to Northern Kentucky or wait and spend it here.
I think you made a good point. I don't think we need to spend our money in the other counties. We're trying to get one of our own.
Larry?
That's fine with me.
Bill Ray?
And I agree.
Okay, good. The judge's report over, I see that Pat Banks has joined us. Just a few minutes late, Pat, but that's okay. And I wondered, would you like to come up and give us an update on the Kentucky River Authority, please, and what all you all got going on, because you've always got a lot of things going on the Kentucky River.
Thank you. About 4 years ago, maybe 5, when I first came and talked to you guys about the river and everything, I got a lot of support from you. Didn't know what I was doing, just knew I had to start talking to people about it. And the Kentucky River wasn't on anyone's website. You type it in, you got Kentucky River foothills, but no Kentucky River anything. Now, we have the Kentucky River on probably dozens of websites. Fish and Wildlife has acknowledged they've started working on a water trail with us. I guess about 4 years ago, I was appointed to the Kentucky River Authority, and at that time, the policies for that were really no public access to the properties or the lock and dam properties, and was very much concerned about the water quantity and quality, but there was another whole part of the mission that was about accessibility and stewardship. We have I've been reappointed to the River Authority Board for another 3 years, and this board has a vision of working with counties to create parks on as many of the properties as we can partner with. That's a huge change. We're looking at 8 right now. We haven't taken a vote, but we're repairing Lock and Dam 8 right now. But because we had sealed up some of the locks, we couldn't get equipment there. They had to build a concrete factory to work on the lock and dam. So there's starting to be a consensus that opening the locks is to our benefit, even if it's on a limited basis. So, and we're also looking at keeping everyone safe. Public safety is huge, but building portages around all the lock and dams for kayakers and canoers. That could be huge. And so anyway, at Lock 8, if the vote goes through and if they figure out where the money's coming from, there will be a new park with portages around the lock and dam, and possibly the judge asked for the lock to be opened, and we're going to try and vote on it. We also found out that it takes as much to close it as it does to open it. So there's not always a big difference. You know, there's the operations, but that can be on a limited basis, and plan is needed. But there's been some real exciting things. We've also been working with the National Park Service. They're another partner in this, so that we can turn our Kentucky River into Kentucky River National Water Trail. That means a lot to a lot of the communities that are up and down the river. Richmond and Winchester, our people everyone isn't on the river, so we don't always have as much buy-in. And Berea, all of my dear friends, they're proud that they don't get their water from the river. So creating this water trail creates an awareness that people will care about the river, and that therefore coming at it sideways, working on the water quality, because when they see what's going on, they get concerned. And we've made a lot of progress, but there's still more. We can still do more. Have any questions?
Lock 8, is that the one down below Valley View?
Yes. And the interesting thing is, the Jessamine County judge would, I guess about 20 years ago, there were some ideas about opening the properties for parks. It got squashed, but that county judge is still there, and he remembered that when I came in and asked if he wanted to do it, and he goes, well, I already did that 20 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, well, no one's paying attention now. Do you want to do it again? And they're looking at 7, 8, and 9. They would like to have partnerships with the River Authority for parks. 8 would be the main one, but they would also like to have them. So building the portages around those will also be a priority. We're trying to get picnic tables and composting toilets that are used in a lot of national parks and preserves. Very low maintenance. But for these facilities to be family friendly, we think having the composting toilets and picnic tables make that a much more family friendly endeavor. So,
Pat, bring us up to date a little bit. I know I've been to a couple meetings with you with the River Keepers, and you've been very active in that also. Mm-hmm. Are you all working together with the Kentucky River Authority?
Well, since I'm director of the Kentucky River Keeper, it's yes, and trying to. It's trying to be as proactive as I can be. I'm always looking for the partners. For the River Authority, the most powerful group is you guys. And I've been at, I can't tell you how many county seats talking to, I haven't talked to you guys as much as I've been talking to everybody else, because I feel like when I've needed you, I've been able to call up and say, hey, what's going on. So I'm really glad to be able to be here today and answer some questions. The Riverkeeper has, if you think of it as a web, because that's how I do, our goal is clean water. And we have a lot of regulations in place, and it should be, we should not have any problems. My sister-in-law lives in Charleston, West Virginia. So when you find out that these tanks have been leaking for probably years, all corroded, sometimes we've got to at least enforce our regulations we have. So that's one aspect of the Riverkeeper is making sure that we do enforce the regulations we have. The other is education and accessibility, because you can talk about clean water all day, and it's a good idea, but not a lot of people can feel connected to that. So that's where a lot of our education with children, we do a lot with Kids Connection. It's a small group of, it's a nonprofit organization that we do several projects a year with, about 40 to 50 kids. We get them on the river, we do some art with them, talk about the river. But as Riverkeeper, I see it as this multifaceted thing. And this water trail, we thought we were going to do one pool at a time. What happened is there's been so much interest. I'm working with Carrollton, I'm working with Beattyville. Estill County just had their conference in the fall, and we did a ribbon cutting for 11 and 12. Well, they're so excited. They're applying to be Trail Town. They're going to be doing water testing, and they already have ideas for getting an outfitter to do canoes and kayaks right under the bridge. We've met with Perry County, and so now all of a sudden we've gone from one thing at a time that we could handle to it's just been like an explosion. People they're seeing this as a real forward-thinking project, because up until now you could do something on the river, and that's great, but we found that that we're starting to look at different grants, because linking all of the projects, all of a sudden it becomes this like really big thing. And we do have a few ideas to float around. You want to hear a couple of them for?
Sure.
Okay. And I'm going to blast this out because I don't have any money, but I know some people do. One of the projects that's coming up for the River Authority is Lock and Dam 10 at Boonesboro. It's got to be rebuilt. So we also want to open that lock. We're going to have to raise the money for it. For every project, the River Authority has to raise the money for it. But that's what's on the books next, is to open Lock and Dam 10 and repair the dam. When they do that, one of the ways they can do that is to rechannel the river and work on the Lock and Dam dry dock. And if they do that, we've created a water feature that we have some plans that we've been looking at that could train Olympic rafters, kayakers, canoers, whitewater, because you can control that. So if we could find partners to do that, the park is excited about that. You've got parking, you've got so much in place, and most of the work would kind of already be done. The other is if the Dale plant is retired, which it looks like it will be in some form, because the fracking, the gas has made the Dale plant finally obsolete. So, because it is one of the dirtiest plants in the country. I don't know if you guys realize that. We live just about a mile up from it, so I know all about it. Anyway, I'd like to turn that into an aquarium, have that be an aquarium, like a Chattanooga, so that, but see it as a research facility with universities, have it be river ecology, and a children's exhibit. So I think that's really feasible. You've got three sludge ponds that are going to be toxic. They're toxic waste dumps. They're going to have to do something with those when they close this plant. So why not turn them into parking lots? Because I can't think of anything better to do for them. It just seems like there is some opportunity there. And so if we can get our university presidents and some developers interested, I think you could turn that into really thriving.
Well, I know I said, and that's the reason I asked you to continue, is with the Boonesboro, with Lock 10 there at Boonesboro. We're looking at when they reroute the river, using that as recreational, getting a developer to come in and maybe foot a whole lot of the cost and do a lease back to them. Of course, that would have to go through the state because they're using state property and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, everybody I've talked to that's been in these meetings just loves the idea.
Yeah.
There's so much potential at Boonesboro. I mean, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Maybe if we could get a swinging bridge and somebody play a banjo, we could get a movie film and break in a lot of money.
That would do it. You have the connections?
No, and not the banjo either.
Any other questions for Pat? Pat, we appreciate you coming in, and congratulations on your reappointment to the Kentucky River Authority. I know you do a great job at that, and we appreciate you, all you do. Okay, at this time then, I would ask for a motion to go into a short executive session, please.
So moved.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes, Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Well, and Chris? All right. Kenny, motion was made by Mr. Combs and seconded by Bill Ray, and it was unanimous to come out of executive session. And we will proceed with comments from department heads. Anybody got anything? Nothing? No comments? Magistrates? Greg?
I looked as y'all done commended the road department for their work of cleaning the roads, and everybody wants the road clean before daylight, but they've done a good job, and all of his men working endless hours just to get out and keep the roads safe and clean, and I do appreciate them for their hard work, and all of our departments that we have. I appreciate them for their hard work that they do, and hope that before long spring arrives. So that's all.
Roger?
I don't have much to judge. Just the fact that with the cold weather and everything, it's a time to keep an eye on your neighbors and just help out who you can. I know some people's electric might not be out, but the bills are getting ridiculous and going to get worse for a while until we can get through this cold spell. And there's people that needs additional heat, and especially the older people. Sometimes they know they don't have the money to pay the bill and they just freeze. And some of them starving because they can't buy food. So, and they'll take what you give them, but they got so much pride they're not going to ask for it. So sometimes you got to check on them and ask them. But I just visited a couple yesterday. Just happened to be out in the country, and they're doing great. They got two sons that lives close to them, but I told them, I said, we have a tendency to not want to bother our family because they got lives and we don't want to bother them, but sometimes they'll take something from a stranger that they won't take from their own family. So you just need to check on people, make sure they're doing okay.
While you're on that, I want to commend you and George. I was looking through the governor's budget, and I noticed, along with many other things he's proposed, that he did put the Valley View Ferry money in there, so that's
Appreciate
a good deal.
Go on. I want to say thanks to Phil Seifert and them for their hard work on their vouchers. They have some to put out in front for people to find out who their mastric is and information about them and their district. So I appreciate him. And then all the new candidates that's here, it's good to have them.
Bill Ray?
Yeah, we had a good joint governmental meeting there the other day down in Berea, and they had a couple of good topics, and of course one is near and dear to me is the social host ordinance, and there was good reception to the possibility of doing something to begin to prevent people from getting into the substance abuse pipeline. We've got a lot that's already there, so that's something I'm really encouraged about, and I know that one of the things we left with was we're going to ask the three attorneys for the three governments to get together to go over this ordinance. And
I actually spoke with Mayor Conley this morning, and I called his council late last week in an effort to try to get together and start reviewing some models and see what other folks are doing and see if we can't come up with an ordinance that suits all three agencies and see if you all want to act on it.
I called Mark right after the meeting.
Yeah, there's evidence that shows that it does make a difference, and it can be a very positive, at least a small step that we can do to begin to prevent maybe some substance abuse issues. So I'm happy with that.
We will get together by
Larry?
That is, I mean, that's probably the largest meeting we had. We run out of seats, didn't we? Some had to get up and give other people their seats, but I thought it was a productive meeting. And Billy Ray, you, I was kind of proud of you, what you said. And I know it comes from your heart when you said it, and I appreciate that. Leroy, I want to say what Greg said. I think y'all have done a good job, and I rode with some of the crew. I haven't took Mike up on riding around with the police yet. But I'll leave that at another time. But they do a good job, and that's dangerous work. When you hit them big chug holes, you don't know where you're going to be. And believe me, we got some, but I guess when it gets a little warmer, we'll figure out how to fix those too.
You don't have any in your district, though, do you?
No,
It's in good shape.
no. I mean, we don't allow them over in southern Madison County.
That's right.
But other than that, Judge, I'm just glad to be here.
Glad you're here, Larry. Comments from the audience? Anybody like to come up, ask any questions, talk about anything? If not, next court date will be Tuesday, February the 11th, here. And with that, a motion will be in order to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes, thank everybody for coming in. We appreciate it. Just a couple things, Billy Ray, you're going to stay after, see Pat. And then, James, I need to see you just a few minutes after court. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in